Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
Replay Guitar Exchange is your premier independent guitar store. Being independent is good. With all of the major brands, including new, vintage, and pre-owned, you can find the guitar, bass, amp, or accessory you are dreaming of. From vintage to the newest models, Replay Guitar Exchange can help you find that perfect piece. They have industry veteran expert staff, all players like you down to the owner. You aren't just getting a great guitar, you're getting the Replay difference. Find them online at replayguitar.com and find your dream guitar today.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that rock shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsdesigns.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook for special offers and custom orders. That's sasspantsdesigns.com, sasspantsdesigns.com. Sass Pants will make you the envy of the party.
Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
He's like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Yes, it is party time. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and as always, good to be seen. Izzy Presley on another fucking podcast. That's right. We are back. A special Wednesday afternoon, noonish. Well, it is technically afternoon now because it's 12:04. Show here. I have a very, very special guest returning to the show for the first time in 5 years. Gonna get to that legend in just a minute. Make sure you do hit up all of the social media, of course, at Real Izzy Presley, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And the show page is another effing podcast. Share the show, tell your friends, and if you want to support the show, you can. Send me money. Izzy Presley at yahoo.com is your PayPal. This show is not free to put on, and but I do it for free every week. Why? Because I love you guys. T-shirt links are there. You can buy T-shirts, the shop link, and of course there is 17, I believe, of my Monsters of Rock Cruiser Jam shirts left. And turn that down. That's bleeding in. So that eBay link is up as well. So make sure you hit all that stuff. Entertainment-wise, we have Soundcheck Live coming up the last Wednesday of the month. Very special show at Hollywood and Highland, of course, that I host every month. We are doing synth pop, all keyboards this month. It should be a very, very interesting show, and I know we have some synth pop legends coming in, some 80s legends. I cannot tell you who they are, but it is going to be great. And I think on the 25th, as we're doing punchlines and backlines, that is a Thursday night at the Grafton in Hollywood. 6 comics, 1 musician. The musician has to do comedy. Last month went freaking great, so I cannot wait to do that again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, it's very special, Billy. because you were my first big name guest in studio.
Oh, wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
5 years ago, you were my first big name guest, the first person. I was, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll come down and do the show. And you were in the process of writing your book at the time. And I think we kind of, I talked about a little bit. It's like we got a lot of those same stories that were in the book. And it's like now we have a chance to expand on the book and the brand new CD, which is coming out. Billy, when does this come out?
Well, the official release date is this Friday, the 12th.
Okay.
But I think, you know how these people are. They things go a little bit late, so it might be another week.
Well, it's coming out. It is called Timeless. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy No Guest List Vera.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes. So I thought about you a couple months ago, and I drive Lyft, and I picked this dude up, and he just opens the door. He's like, I have an elderly gentleman you're going to be driving. That's not why I thought of you. And he goes, you might want to talk to him. He's got some stories. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, he's the last living member of the I can't think of the guy's name now. Is it Glenn Miller? Huge orchestra guy.
Tommy Dorsey.
No.
Benny Goodman.
No.
Glenn Miller.
He's the last living member of the Glenn Miller Orchestra. And his name is Ray Anthony.
Ray Anthony, yeah, he had his own big band.
Yeah.
He made the Bunny Hop.
Yeah.
That was his big hit.
Yeah, and
he was married to Mamie Van Doren.
That's right. And I Googled him after I dropped him off, drove him up to this house up in the hills,
He was banging Mamie Van Doren, dude.
I know. And it's like I'm just like randomly talking. He's 96 at the time, He can hardly hear, but he still plays his trumpet.
Right.
Right. And like, did you ever like hang with Sinatra? Did you ever work? It was like, he used to live next door to me. I used to hang with him all the time.
Yeah.
So I put on your big band record as I was driving. But yeah, I thought of you. I'm like, I wonder if Billy knows this guy.
I met him once at a telethon. I was doing a telethon. He was doing a telethon. It was about 20 years ago. Yeah, he liked to talk about pussy,
So you two got along great.
That's exactly right. Speaking of that, I, right by your house is Sarno's.
Yeah,
and they used to have
porn star karaoke.
Porn star karaoke.
Yep.
And a friend of mine, one of the great porn stars of all time, Julia Ann, she calls me up one day back then, and she says, everybody comes and does karaoke and mangles your song. It would be really cool, and I know the girls would love it, if you came and sang karaoke of your song yourself. And I said, man, I ain't never done that, but I'll tell you what, if you introduce me, I'll do it. So I go over there. It turns out, the guy that owned Sarno's was a fan of mine too.
Uh-huh.
And I still got the porn star karaoke T-shirt,
Oh, nice.
And Julia, I pull into the parking lot, and she's out there doing an interview with TMZ. And she says, "Oh, it's Billy Vera's here now. Come over." And so we did a duo interview.
Oh, nice.
And we sort of fell into this thing where we made him think that we were a couple. But I don't think they ever ran it.
Oh, really?
It didn't get dirty or anything, but
yeah.
And Julie was the most beautiful porn star that ever lived. I mean, she's woof. And so she introduced me, and then I sang my little song, and all the little girls are going, "Ooh, Billy, ooh," and everybody's kissing me and everything. It was a great night.
Well, Billy, I'll tell you how small this world is. This town, especially. Julia has been on this show.
Oh, wow, really? So you know her?
Yeah. I know her, but she did it when I was at the old place. Uh-huh. And she's now married to a guy that used to live in this room.
No kidding.
Yeah.
A musician.
Oh,
poor thing.
Yeah, that's how small this fucking world is.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard you telling that story in the book, and it's like, fuck, that's my buddy's wife. I know her. It's hilarious.
Well, tell her I said hello if you ever see her again.
I absolutely will. Another mutual friend, Jerry Gemott.
Jerry Jamot.
Jerry Gemott,
He
yeah.
played bass with me on some of my Atlantic records
Oh, really?
back in the New York days, and on demos. Yeah, nice guy.
Great dude. That dude's played on so much.
He played Rascals, Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, how did you like cross paths with him originally?
Well, I was on Atlantic, for a number of years back in the late '60s, and he was one of the Atlantic musicians, so that's how we met. Yeah, and then we got kind of friendly, and I'd bring him on. I was still a staff songwriter at April Blackwood Music at the time, and so whenever I had a demo, I'd call him up and say, "Hey, man, you want to come and do a demo for me?"
Speaking of demos, you were talking about because we're watching the Elvis '68 comeback special here. What you claim in the book is the worst song that Elvis ever recorded.
I did the demo.
You did the demo, rubbernecking.
Rubbernecking, man. And the irony is that it later was re-released in England and became like a #1 record over there.
The Elvis version.
The Elvis version.
Really?
Yeah.
What didn't you like about the song?
I just thought it was stupid. It was written by Ben Weissman, who wrote more Elvis songs than any other writer. 57 Elvis
Holy
songs.
shit.
I don't think there was one hit among them, but Elvis liked the way Ben's demos sounded,
Okay.
so he would record his songs, and so it was he and this woman named Dory Jones, who was the mistress of Freddie, who ran the publishing, Elvis's publishing.
Okay.
And so she called me up to do the demo, and on the demo was the piano player was Dave Baby Cortez, So we did this demo, and I got my $35, and they paid us all in checks that had Elvis's picture on them, and thinking I know it had to be the Colonel's idea.
Of course.
Who's going to cash a check with Elvis's picture on him? Of course, today I could sell it on eBay for $1,000.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But at the time, I needed that $35, so I cashed the motherfucker. Yeah.
Oh, you did a lot of demos back in the day, obviously.
Well, mostly for my songs.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Or sometimes Chip Taylor's songs, because we wrote together. Yeah.
Right. Is there any songs that people might know that you did do the demo for that you ended up not recording?
Well, there's one that's on my new album, as it turns out. My boss came in one day, knocked on the door, and said, "Listen, Chuck Jackson, the great soul singer, is doing a date. See if you can write something for him." So he had kind of slowed down a bit, and I said he got kind of stale. I said I want to give him something that'll give him a kick in the ass. And I had been listening to a blues record by Little Junior Parker called Driving Wheel, and in the middle of it there was a stop chorus, and I always thought that was a cool device in songwriting to use. So I put that in the song, and my publisher submitted it, and he ended up not recording it. So then they sent it over to Epic Records, where they had this new band from New England called the Remains. Now the Remains are famous for they opened for the Beatles on their last tour. They had one album.
Oh shit!
And then they broke up. Being an opening act for the Beatles can be kind of disheartening.
Yeah,
as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they broke up. They were a wonderful band. I mean, kind of hard garage rock band. And so they recorded. I heard the record. I thought it was going to have a #1 record. It was a single, and it was because they did a great version. Not what I envisioned when I wrote the song, but I just loved it, and nothing really happened. So a couple of years later, I'm down in Greenwich Village, perusing records in an old record store, and this skinny guy behind the counter comes over to me. He says, I know where there's a stash of your Atlantic albums for about $3 for $1. You want me to? I said, yeah, I could sell them in the clubs, So he says, by the way, my name's Lenny Kay, and I play guitar for this girl, Patti Smith. And, I did a compilation album called Nuggets,
Okay.
And I used your song on there, and it's like become this underground classic in our group, in our world. The album didn't sell shit, but there it was, and so that was good for my ego, but not for my pocketbook.
Right. Right.
So about 20 years later, now I got At This Moment out. I get a call from Cyndi Lauper's husband, and he says, Cyndi just recorded your song "Don't Look Back." I said, "Wow, yeah." He said, "Yeah, she's going to do a duet with Joan Jett." I said, "Wow, that's cool." It didn't come out. Then, about a couple months after that, I get a promo CD, 4-song promo for Robert Plant's new album. He cut "Don't Look Back."
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't make the final cut on the album.
Of course it did.
Now I think the song is jinxed. Right?
Right.
The Malocchio is on my song. So then, now another 20 years, 40 years after I wrote this song, Rhino puts out an expanded version of Lenny Kaye's Nuggets album, and it sells a shitload of records. And so finally I started getting checks for the song. And then about another year later, they put out a Robert Plant box set, and it sells a shitload, and my song's on there. So, when I'm doing this latest album, Timeless, I said, I ought to do Don't Look Back, but the way I envisioned it as a soul record, not a rock record. And so I did, and it was fun, man. It's like taking it back to the roots,
Did you ever want to do a record of the songs that you wrote that other people made famous?
Not really. Because they were either really good versions or really bad versions, and some of them were written specifically for
Gotcha.
a different kind of artist than me.
Gotcha.
When you're a professional songwriter, you learn how to write for. One time you're writing for a girl, or maybe you're writing for a singer that sings nothing like you.
Right.
The one that Dolly did, I had a -- record with Dolly Parton called "I Really Got the Feeling," and it's totally written from a female point of view.
Okay.
And which sounds really stupid. And sometimes you can alter the lyric a little bit,
right,
and change the gender.
Well, Billy, in this day and age, nobody would give a shit.
That's right. That's right, man. We're all trans.
That's right.
But I on the new album, I did another song that was recorded when I was producing Lou Rawls, "Moon Glows." I always liked that song, and it fits me. Anything that fits Lou Rawls can fit me, I figure, for the most part.
I was listening to one of your records. It was one of your best of. I think it was just the best of Billy Vera, or the Billy Vera story. I think is the name of it. And just the way that you could cross genres. There's a country song on there.
Yeah.
She Ain't Johnny. She Ain't Johnny, which actually I want to record.
Please do.
I will. You probably won't make any money off of it.
What else is new? What else is new in my
exactly.
career?
Who did you learn the most as far as songwriting goes from?
I would say two people, but first was Chip Taylor, was my mentor. Mm-hmm. He was already a staff writer and an executive at April Blackwood Music. He went to, as it turns out, he went to my high school.
Oh, really?
About 4 years ahead of me, and his brother, John Voight, is 6 years older than me. And he used to come around. We'd all have lunch together when John was just starting out.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I think I told you last time the story about Wild Thing.
No, you didn't, actually.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So I'll tell it to you.
Go ahead.
So one day, I'd go down 5 days a week and write songs. So this one day, I was down there, but I had a gig that night up in Stamford, Connecticut. And Chip says, "Well, no, you got to stay tonight." He said, "This group, is recording tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and they don't have enough songs. He says, anything we write, any piece of crap, we'll get on the date. I said, well, I'm sorry, Chip. I can't. I got, I'm the singer. The band doesn't work. We won't make our $15 a man.
Right.
And so I got on the train and I went home. So the next morning I went in and I said, how'd you do? He says, yeah, I kind of started something, and I didn't have it finished. I went in the studio to make the demo, and I kind of finished it in the studio. And it was Wild Thing. And, the group made a record of it, and it was not much of a record, went nowhere. So about a year later, this record from England comes in by the Trogs, and he plays it for me. He says, what do you think? I said, Jesus Christ, that's a #1 record if I ever heard one. And, of course, it
Yeah.
And, everybody from Jimi Hendrix on down has recorded
Sam
it.
Kinison?
Yeah, right. There was a very funny record. It was a parody of two gay guys that were going, Wild Thing, ooh, you make my heart sing. Back when you could do that.
Right. When nobody got all fucking butthurt.
Yeah, right.
Hey, no pun intended. Okay.
Hey, but
hey-oh.
So, but if I had written it with him, it would have ended up being a different song and probably wouldn't have been as successful.
Right.
But what I learned from Chip was a couple of things. He said, remember, a song is like a short story. It must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has to have an arc. He said, another thing is to remember, he said, try to write songs that you can picture people singing 20 years from now. He said, don't write trendy shit, for today. He said, try to write classics. He said, that's where your money comes from in the long run. Well, look at this moment.
Yeah.
All these years later, a lot of people have recorded, and Michael Bublé sold 10 million records.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
Well, it's just a good fucking song. It's a great fucking song.
Yeah. Got lucky with that one.
Yeah, no shit. Isn't it all luck?
It's all luck, and it's all luck.
How good of a songwriter were you before you got into that writing with Chip?
Well, it's a funny thing. The first song I ever took to a publisher, it was a little song called Mean Old World. And I wrote it with this new girl singer that I heard on the radio in mind, named Dionne Warwick. And not knowing that Burt Bacharach and Hal David had her all tied up. And so I brought it to the publisher. He gave me $35 advance, for the song, and paid for the demo. As it turns out, my guitar player in my band was a James Burton freak. So the record ended up sounding more like a Ricky Nelson record, the demo. And so a couple of weeks later, and I'm so naive at that time, I thought, 2 weeks? Jesus Christ, it takes so long. That's how stupid I was.
Yeah.
He says, I got a record on one of your songs that you gave me. I said, oh, yeah, which one? He said, Mean Old World. I said, oh, cool. Did you get that girl? He said, no. Better. I got Ricky Nelson. He said, Ricky Nelson, he's white. He can't sing that song. And I was pissed. He said, you ungrateful little putz.
Yeah.
He said, Ricky's going to do the song 5 weeks in a row on Ozzie and Harriet, and you're going to make a bundle. And all his records are hits. Well, it was a hit. Yep. So the first song I ever took to talk about beginner's luck.
Yeah, no shit. Shit. And I suppose that kind of spoiled you right away, thinking, oh, fuck, this is easy.
Yeah, so I must have had something,
Yeah.
So when I, in those days, it was a cottage industry, and if you had a hit record, everybody on Broadway knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go up to April Blackwood and they introduced me to Chip, he said, I'm jealous. I've been in this business 4 years, and I haven't gotten a Ricky Nelson record. I said, what do you say to a guy like that, But he liked this one song that I had recorded myself. I thought it was a B-side of my first record. It called this stupid title, All My Love. And he said, I love that song. I just love it. To this day, he says that song. Well, I found out years later it was one of those regional kind of hits. You know, it was like #1 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You know, and I found out a couple years later that it had been a top 10 record, and that my song, rather than the A-side, had been a top 10 record in Texas and Louisiana. That's how it worked in those, or didn't work in those days.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess I had a little something, you know, because Chip respected but he gave me more advice, you know, which helped a lot. And then the other guy that helped me about, you know, in the 70s, I was playing. It was the 70s was really bad for me. You know, I couldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
Because I had been a blue-eyed soul singer in the 60s, and that went out of fashion.
Right. And this is the era when you're at home living with your
living
mom
with
again.
my mom, yeah, you know.
6 months turned into 9 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm playing a Ramada Inn, you know, 2-week gig, 6 nights a week at the Ramada Inn, which is the lowest. You know, I'm playing on a Tuesday night. I'm playing to 3 people, 3 businessmen traveling who hated me because the waitresses are talking to me instead of them. And so I end my set, and the waitress comes over. She says, "That gentleman over there with his wife at the table would like to say hello." So I go over there, stretches out his hand to shake my hand. He says, "L. Russell Brown, I wrote tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree." And I'm thinking, how nice for you, you know. Huge song.
Right.
And he says, "You know, Vera," he says, I was listening to you up there. He says, "I know your records. You're one of the greatest singers that ever lived. You're a great songwriter. Everybody in the business knows how great you are. But you never make any money." He says, "Me, I make a lot of money, and nobody respects me." He said, "I was thinking, I got an idea." He says, "We ought to write together. I could teach you how to make money, and you could teach me how to get respect." I said, "What are you, the Rodney Dangerfield of songwriters?"
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, right? So I started writing with him. And what I learned from Larry, his real name is, he calls himself L. Russell Brown, but his name is Larry, is he's a great melody writer, like an Irving Berlin. You know, he writes simple melodies for simple people. And that's his gift. He wrote "Come On, Marianne" by the Four Seasons. He wrote "Sock It to Me, Baby" by Mitch Ryder. You know, "Knock 3 Times." You know, a lot of those kind of melodies. So I got an idea how to write a more catchy melody from him. He had a lot of energy too. Sometimes we wrote 3 songs a day. Not all good.
Right.
But you know, every song you write ain't going to be Stardust. You know? Yeah. So anyway, one day we're writing. I was over to his house, and he says, "Listen, I got a gig producing." He wanted to be a producer. "I got a gig producing Nancy Sinatra." He said, I need a 4th song for her. Why don't you start something? I got to go pick up my wife at the hairdresser. You know, we'll finish it when I get back. So I said, "What the fuck do I write for Nancy fucking Sinatra?" "Oh, she got this famous father." So I come out with a line like, "I love my daddy, but it really don't matter what my daddy might say," you know, stuff like that. Had another line in there, "When I see your laughing face," you know, from his song that he wrote for her, that he sang for her. And I finished it before Larry got back. I knocked it out in about 20 minutes. I played it for him. He said, "Oh, my God." He said, "This is a #1 record, if I ever heard one." He said, "I'll play it for Nancy tomorrow." She hated it. She hated
Of course.
She hated the song. And he says, "Well, I think you're wrong." He said, this is a hit song. And she didn't care. So he got home and he's pissed off. He calls me up. He says, "You got to do something with this song." He says, "You got to prove that bitch wrong and prove me right." So that kind of excited me. Mm-hmm. So my friend Crazy Joe Renda, his uncle Phil was the head of the mafia in northern Westchester County. Anyway, he played in my band, but he also had a country band, and they had a girl singer with a nice voice, but she was lazy. And she didn't learn the song properly. We took her in to record it, and everywhere we went, love the song, hate the girl. Love the song, hate this girl. Jesus, where'd you get that girl? She sucks. You know, it was that.
Mm-hmm.
Last guy on my list, he says, love the song, hate the girl, but we're doing Dolly next week. Give me the song for Dolly. I said, I didn't trust him. I said, Charlie, I'll tell you what, give me some money. Gave me $2,500 for a song.
Which is a lot of fucking money in
It was
the 70s.
oh man, 1978, well, I guess it was, 77. It was a fortune to me, living at my mother's house like some loser musician.
Yep.
So, you know, he recorded it, and then in the interim, I get this offer to come to California and write for Warner Brothers. And I'm driving out on Route 10 across the southern route of the country. Every 20 minutes, they're playing my fucking Dolly Parton record. I said, I'm like George Jessel, I'm back in show business. You know?
Yeah.
You know, the day I hit L.A., it was number one. And I said, wow, it was an omen. I'm going to do okay out here.
How different was it writing back in the late 60s and early 70s as opposed to when you moved back out here?
A lot different. Because by then, labels were signing acts that wrote their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And shit was what most of those songs are, you know, because most musicians can't write, you know. And they can put the chords together, they can put something that resembles a melody and a lyric, but the songs aren't they're not professional.
Right.
And but so I wasn't getting any records on my songs out here. And I you know, I'm crying the blues to my publisher, who was a great guy, Eddie Silvers, New Yorker. And he said, don't worry about it. He says, I didn't sign you to get, he said, the days of a publisher getting your songs recorded are over. He said, I signed you because, you know, in case you get a record deal. We're like a bank, you know. He says, so don't worry about it. You'll get a record deal. And then eventually we did, of course, and then they had all the songs.
Right.
I just renewed with them last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the copyrights have expired.
Oh.
And so they can they revert actually to me.
Okay.
So I had a choice. I could keep the publishing 100% myself. And then I thought about it. Why be greedy? I can't collect around the world like a Warner Brothers can. It's worth, if I can make the right deal with them instead of 50-50.
Right.
So I said, I'll tell you what. And they're calling me up. You know, they don't want to lose at this moment.
Of course not.
You know,
of course not.
Another Michael Bublé might come along.
That's right.
I said, I'll tell you what. How about a 90-10 split? Without taking a breath, he said yes.
Holy shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. And so now, on that song and all my other songs from Warner Brothers, I'm getting 90%.
Dude, fuck
yeah. Sometimes the good guys win.
That's right. Because a lot of these bands that you look at, like especially from the 80s, I mean, they're fucked because they don't have the publishing on their songs. Motley Crue, I think, is the one of the bands that actually has all their publishing.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else, they blew all their fucking money.
Sure.
You know? They
piss it away.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't do bad if the publisher has the publishing because it's split 50-50,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay, you know, if they're doing their job. But today's publisher, their only job is to collect. They're not going to get cover records on your songs unless you write coverable songs.
Right, which nobody is writing.
And nobody knows how to write a coverable song anymore.
Fucking turn on pop radio and you tell me that anybody wants to cover that shit?
Yeah.
There's nothing good.
Yeah,
There's nothing memorable.
Right. They don't know how to write a catchy melody like Larry Brown. You know? He has a song called Paradise, which didn't do shit in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest songs around the world, as he says, from Moscow to Melbourne. And he gets so much money from this song Paradise. I don't even know the song. We should probably look it up on YouTube. But he says he makes a fortune on that song around the world. Because the taste of listeners in different countries is different.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
Jerry Lewis is popular only in France.
He's actually popular somewhere.
The French, they are a funny race. They fight
Yes,
with
they
their
are.
feet and fuck with their face. You never heard that one? That's an old New York gag. man.
As I play the laugh track of a French guy laughing. Yeah. It's my buddy. He plays bass for this band called XYZ from the 80s.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, hey, oui.
Oh man.
Funny story about Pat Fontaine. That's the guy who that is.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to get into this with you a little bit.
All right.
Pat was on the show, and he told a story about he had 2 dates set up with him by the record companies because they wanted people to be seen, together out in public. And one of them was Susanna Hoffs.
Oh yeah.
And the other one was he went to the premiere of.
She was cute, if I remember right.
Still is. And the other one was Demi Moore.
Oh.
And they went to the premiere of. God, it was one of the Brat Pack movies in the 80s.
I dated Demi briefly.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I was doing all soap opera actresses back then.
I
had
did
a
want to
fetish.
talk about that.
I had a fetish for soap opera actresses.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah, me too. I watch I'm missing Young and Restless to be on your show. That's how much I love you.
Oh, stop. See, Days comes on at 1, and that's my show.
Okay.
How did you end up meeting Demi?
Ken Schreiner, who plays Scotty Baldwin on General Hospital. Demi was on General Hospital.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, she was young and mellow. so Ken was a big fan of mine, and I was playing at the Central. Do you remember the Central?
No,
It's become the Viper Room.
Oh, okay. That's right. Right. Yeah.
So we were playing down there, and it's a dive. I haven't been there since it became the Viper Room. Maybe it's nice now, but
It probably still smells the same.
yeah. It's British roadies is basically the crowd. Anyway, he brings a bunch of General Hospital people in to see the band, and Demi among them. And I shouldn't really tell this story, but
It's okay. Only like 300 people are going to hear it, so it doesn't matter.
So, everybody gets drunk, and Ken says, well, we ought to split because he was driving. And she says, no, I'm staying. I'm going home with him, me. So she goes home with me, And the next morning, I wake up, and somebody's vacuuming my apartment. She's vacuumed my apartment.
Oh, you told this story in the book, but you didn't name the name.
I know I was too much of a gentleman, but you bring out the slob in me.
We have a lot in common, Billy.
Yeah. So and she went out and bought me breakfast. And came back. I'll tell you, she was really I don't know what she became when she became a movie star, but at that time she was about as sweet and nice a girl as they come. And she was one of these. She wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
One of those. And, it was brief, but, yeah. I'd run into her periodically when I was dating another girl from General Hospital. And she was still just as sweet and kind, Yeah, great girl. She ended up marrying a guy that I met at the Central.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce, he came in one night. It was like he was totally unknown. He had just done the first episode of Moonlighting, and I had seen the show, and I got a really good eye for who's going to be a star. I should be a manager or an agent or something because I can pick them every time. And I saw this guy on Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd. I said, this cat's going to be big. Because all the actors at that time were pretty boys, and Bruce is a good-looking guy, but he's not pretty. He looks like a guy.
Yeah,
And so he comes in and he comes over to the bandstand. I'm on stage, and he said, I saw your name on the marquee out front. He said, I had to come in and introduce myself. He said, Peter Weller, I used to be a bartender at his club in New York. Peter Weller, Buckaroo Banzai, this movie I was in.
Yep.
And he said, Peter bought 250 copies of your album and gave them to all his friends, and I just fell in love with your album. He said, I play it all the time. I said, oh, cool. I said, wait a minute, aren't you that guy on the new show with Sybil? He says, yeah. I says, dude, you're going to be a fucking star. Mark my words. And so he started coming to all our gigs, And he kept coming all the time until he got so big that people wouldn't leave him alone.
Yep.
It happened pretty fast for him. And then we did a movie together. We did one called Blind Date.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Kim Basinger. And
yeah, I saw that once.
Yeah. It's on a cable all the time to this day. Yeah. Yeah, I did 3 songs in that. And I there was this one barroom brawl scene when Bruce is chasing Kim, and he finally finds her in this bar where we're playing, and this brawl breaks out. And so what Blake Edwards, the great director, he did, without telling me, he sent 2 female stunt women up to try to beat me up, and we got a little scuffle, and something fell over, and my leg got cut, and my pants got ripped. So the next day, all the stuntmen came in, and they gave me stuntman's T-shirt and made me an official stuntman. And I tell you, it was the greatest honor I ever got.
Fuck yeah!
He says, "You're now one of us."
Was it hard in the acting when you were going on auditions and for the acting stuff for them to separate the musician from the actor?
Not at first, because I hadn't had the hit record yet, but I had a great agent, a woman named Donna Perricone.
I need one of those.
Who left the business, and she and Ames Cushing, who were at APA, they saw me in a play I was in, and they said, "Man, love what you're doing up there. You're different. Would love to sign you." I said, "Well, my friend Danny Robinson is if he'll handle me for music, I'll go with you." And Donna had an eye for what was the right part for me. So my batting average was Ted Williams time. I was batting 400, 450, and usually you get 1 out of 30 auditions.
Yeah.
And so it as long as Donna was there, she sent me to the right things, and I was making a living as an actor, believe it or not. Nobody does.
No, God, no.
And then after the record hit, Donna left the business. Ames went to another company, and this guy comes in, John Gaines, who's now passed on from this mortal coil. And he came in and brought a bunch of his boys in there, and they thought I was just another singer, what you're talking about.
Yeah. Another
singer who wants to act a little. And they sent me up to these stupid sitcoms where I played an aging singer, and it was no longer fun. It was no longer fun. The last one I did. David Hasselhoff was a fan of ours. We played his wedding, and he calls me up. He says, "I'm doing this new show." He said, "It's not much budget. I'm asking my friends to help me out. Would you come and do a part?" Baywatch. Ended up being the biggest show in the world. So right. I do an episode of Baywatch, and then a couple of years later, he splits off to Baywatch Nights, and he hired Lou Rawls, who I was producing, to run a nightclub in the show. So I said to Lou, my song "Room with a View" is David's favorite song. I said, tell him that you recorded it, and he'll let you do it on the show, and he did. So then I get a call to be on Baywatch Nights, So this episode is really weird. I played a Brian Wilson type character, and then in flashback at the beginning, I'm wearing a toupee, and I'm drunk on a couch in the dressing room, and the guys in the band rape a groupie. Cut to today, I'm Bald Billy, and her daughter is killing the band members one by one. It's a really stupid plot.
Right.
And now I'm her boyfriend, and she, not knowing that I did not participate in the rape, she's going to kill me. So she takes me out on her yacht and hits me over the head with a Telecaster and ties me up and puts me in a rubber life raft and sets me adrift and then shoots a hole in the rubber life raft. So I'm stuck in the filthy, disgusting, shark-infested Pacific Ocean for 8 hours, hating every minute of it.
Right.
And Hasselhoff, of course, at the end comes and saves the day.
Of course.
So we wrap for the day, which was the end of the episode. I get a call from my agent. Get over to CBS. We want you to do some promos. I was doing voiceovers. So I go over to CBS. I do a shitload of promos, for whatever their comedy shows were. I made more money in a half hour than I made the whole week on Baywatch. I said, you know what? My ego doesn't need to be seen on television anymore. I just want the money. Fuck it. And that's when the voiceover thing took over.
We're going to get more into that. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back. We'll play the song Don't Look Back off the brand new record, which is called Timeless. So just hold tight. The legendary Billy Vera in studio right here on another effing podcast. RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
If you need to promote your band or business, or just want to stylize, personalize, or customize your ride, check out vid-decals.com. Want to create and customize your own stickers representing your band, or make your own bumper sticker? Vid Decals can do it. All stickers are printed on quality vinyl and can be placed on any flat surface. Stickers are an affordable way to promote your band or business. Go to vid-decals.com to get started. That's vid-decals.com. vid-decals.com.
Retro Arcade brings Minnesota and surrounding areas arcade games from the days gone by. All of those great games from pizza joints and arcades are available in cocktail units and custom machines. Dozens of favorites from your youth in one machine to complete your game room or man cave. Retro Arcade also sells and services your favorite pinball machines. Find them at facebook.com/80arcade. That's facebook.com/80arcade. Retro Arcade. Your youth is just one click away.
Hey everybody, we're back on another effing podcast, and right now off of the record Timeless, this is Billy Vera, Don't Look Back.
You both made your bed and now you're gonna have to sleep there. Old man Blues is going to try to find you everywhere. No, you better not look now, or he'll catch you. You gotta keep running till the end of time. If you both have faith, you'll find a sunny day. Don't be bothered by what smaller minds have to say. No, you better not look now, or they'll catch you. You got to keep running till the end of time. Now hold it. There's one thing I want to say. There's one thing I want to say this evening. People have some strange ideas on how life should be lived and things should be done. But I'm here to tell you, gotta do just what you want. And when they started their talking, I want you to remember just one thing. The truth is the light. The light is the way. The less folks know, the more they have to say. So if you want me to, here's what I'll do for you. I light a candle and I pray the Lord will bless you. I hope someday they will understand, but till they do, just a no, you better not look now. Oh, they'll catch you. You got to keep running, running till the end of time. Oh, no, you better not look now. Oh, they're gonna catch you. You gotta keep running. You gotta keep running. You gotta keep running, running till the end of time. Ooh, don't let them catch you. You got to keep running, keep on running. You got to keep on running, running around, running away, far away. And don't you dare look back. Oh, don't you dare look back. Oh, you turn to stone, you never look back. Oh, don't you, they're gonna get you.
Don't Look Back, off of Billy Vera's brand new record called Timeless. This is not Billy Vera and the Beaters. This is just Billy Vera.
It's a Beaters-like record.
Okay.
In many ways. In fact, there's 3 Beaters on the record. And then we were talking about casting before, and so I needed a different sound than the Beaters usually have on certain songs. So Lon Price from the Beaters, who's plays sax on this record, he used to play with Al Jarreau, and so he brought me. He suggested this guy, Tom Canning, who was Jarreau's musical director, to play piano. And so I used him, and I used this guy Josh Sklar, who played with Etta James guitar, and Bob Glaub, the great studio bass player. And and I got just what I wanted, from these guys. And it was the first time in my life that this happened. When we finished doing all the tracks, all the rhythm guys walked out and they thanked me. They said, "Thank you for letting us play your wonderful songs."
Oh, that's amazing.
We don't get to do that very often.
That is amazing. Oh, Melissa checking in from Minnesota.
Hey,
hi, Ismo, she says. And hi, Billy.
Hey, baby.
Speaking of beaters, ladies and gentlemen, and Billy, check out Beater Amplification, ladies and gentlemen. That is right, Beater Amplification. Proud to be their very first artist. Badass amplification for those guitars, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're a guitar player, check these things out. 3 channels of, balls out rock and roll tone. You get your old school Metallica tone, old school AC/DC tone, and then you also get an old school Fender clean tone out of these things. Hand wired, hand built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Pull 2 tubes and you got a 50. BeaterAmplification.com. That's 2 E's. Sorry to interrupt you.
Gotta pay the bills.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, pay the bills. Oh, it's there's a blizzard in Minnesota right now.
You're kidding.
No, they're supposed to get 13 inches or something like that over the next couple days.
I thought we weren't talking about porn stars.
Hey-oh! Are these songs on the new record, which is called Timeless, which comes out this Friday.
Yeah.
Digitally as well?
Digitally, yeah, on TuneCore. And then the TuneCore doesn't do the right kind of CDs, I'm told, anymore. I had a TuneCore CD about 10 years ago, and I was very happy. They pay really good. But this one, I put the CD out with CD Baby.
Okay.
And it'll be on Amazon and, all that shit. And we'll see. Sell about 10 records or whatever we can do. But these songs are all things I wrote a long time ago.
Okay, that's where I was getting at. Yeah.
The oldest is Don't Look Back. I was 21 years old. The newest one is one I wrote for Lou Rawls as a follow-up to Room with a View, a blues. I always put one blues on my albums.
Yeah.
And so the newest one is 1991. So it goes with what Chip said. Write songs that are timeless.
Hence the name of the record.
Yeah.
Timeless.
And I felt that the songs deserved to be documented.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy with the record, the way it came out. There's one song on there that right before the session, maybe a couple of days before the session, I said, you know what this needs? It needs the sound of little kids singing. So I had done a favor for a girlfriend of mine who teaches at the Academy of Music for the Blind. And she teaches the kids music. And she asked me to come over one day and, talk to the kids and sing for them and stuff. So I did. And so I said, you think your kids would want to sing on my record? And she said, oh, they'd be thrilled. They're very talented girls. So I got 4 little blind girls that came. And I'll tell you something, man, there wasn't a dry eye in the studio when these girls were singing. There was such a purity to the sound of their voice that works for this particular song. And so it's a little something special,
Yeah, what song is that?
It's called A Simple Little Song.
Oh, okay, the last song on the record, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Larry heard the song. Larry Brown heard the song, and he said, my God, Vera. He says, the last 2 times I predicted, the only 2 times in your whole career since I knew you, that I predicted #1 songs for you, they both went to #1 At This Moment and the Dolly song. He said, I predict this song will be a #1 song somehow, somebody, if people hear it.
Fucking, I hope so, man. Yeah. I really, really do.
I said, Larry, I'll be 75 by the time this record gets played. And I said, it would be the greatest thing for a 75-year-old cat, man, to have a #1 record.
Something I did want to get into with you. I was watching this live this live video, and actually I posted it last night when I was promoting today's show. This live video of At This Moment it was recorded at the Hollywood Palace. And afterwards, you do this little interview after, and it's like...
Oh, with Bobby Colombi from Blood, Sweat, and Tears, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you've got this fucking mafioso vibe about you when you're talking to him, And
that was a goof,
Yeah, I figured it was.
I mean, I grew up around those guys.
Yeah. Was it... that's one thing I wanted to ask you. Was it tough not to fall into that...
I never did business with them other than play their clubs.
Okay.
Because in the early 60s... they owned all the clubs in Manhattan, Times Square, and that. I mean, you couldn't turn around without seeing some mob guy. Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you something that I can tell you now because everybody involved is dead.
Mm-hmm.
But about 2 weeks after JFK got killed, I come into this club, the Headliner on 43rd Street. So named because it was right next to the New York Times, and to bring my amp in and stuff, and I'm sitting at the bar having a Coke, and there's nobody in the place except the bartender and these 2 kind of upper mid-level mob guys drunk at the bar in the middle of the afternoon, and I kind of overhear. I'm about three or four seats away from them, and I hear them talking, and one of them says, well, looks like our boys down in New Orleans and Miami got that Irish fuck. And I'm like, my ears perk up. I said, whoa. No Oswald? They said, yeah, and the other one says, yeah, he should have got his buck-toothed brother Bobby, too. He fucked us. He fucked Carlos, Marcelo.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the story, over the years, you know, I knew people in New Orleans, too, that knew things.
Right.
And they said what happened was, you know, Joe Kennedy, the father, had made a deal with Carlos and Santo Trafficante, the head of Tampa, Florida, and Sam Giancana of Chicago, that you bring in your states for our boy, fix the election, and you'll be free to do your business anywhere you want. And that was the deal. Well, you don't renege on a deal with those guys.
No, absolutely.
And Bobby Kennedy had the feds kidnap Carlos, old man Marcelo. They took him to Guatemala. He was Sicilian, but he was born in Guatemala.
Okay.
So on the pretense that he was not a citizen, and they dropped him in the jungle in Guatemala, and somehow the old man manages to escape, and he comes back to New Orleans, and his boys said to him, "You going to kill Bobby?" He said, "No. You want to kill the snake? You cut off the head." And you know, that and a few other things.
Yeah, well, the Kennedy assassination fascinates the hell out of me.
Well, here's another chapter. A friend of mine's son, who I knew when he was 10 years old, is now a pilot in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his clients is the son of Santo Trafficante. And he told my friend's son, he said, my father said on his deathbed, told me, he said, yeah, me and Carlos did Kennedy. And that's a deathbed confession.
Wow.
Wow. They didn't do it with the gun, but
right.
they arranged for it.
Because I saw
Don't
this.
Don't forget, Oswald's father worked for Marcelo as a bookie.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
Jack
that.
Ruby was some loser from Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
mob-connected guy. They sent him to Dallas because he was worthless in Chicago to run a strip club. You see, there were phone records going back and forth for 6 weeks or months before the assassination from Chicago to the back room of his strip club. What were they talking about? The Cubs?
No, because the Cubs always suck.
Right.
I saw this great documentary, and they looked at a lot of the forensics, and I had a couple of years ago I had my buddy Big John Murray on the show, and he's a former Marine. You know, so we had a long conversation about this documentary, and it's called The Smoking Gun.
Yeah,
and through the forensics and through, I mean, obviously that backstory would put Oswald there.
Yeah.
But through the
no doubt he was there.
Yeah, obviously. But with through the forensics that they found and the gun forensics, ballistics and all that kind of stuff, what they found was Oswald shot twice.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was a dummy bullet that they always put in those guns.
Right.
So that's why he was farther away. But the kill shot came from behind on accident. The Secret Service guy, they hear the gunshots up in there. He picks up the M15 as they hit the gas, falls backwards.
Oh, interesting.
Gun goes off, and that's the trajectory. Because the other thing too is, the bullets that Oswald shot, those are made to go straight through, which is what happened.
Right.
The first one missed. The second one went through Kennedy, and then through the governor in front of him. The kill shot exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed it. They had watermelons, and then those bullets went straight through, and that bullet that was in the M15 exploded.
Yeah.
You know, so it all made sense.
I have another friend. He's still alive, older fella than me. But he was FBI he from Brooklyn. He grew up in the same neighborhood as all the mob guys in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
And he put away a lot of guys. In fact, he's told me the other day. He said, yeah, I put this one guy away, and he said we were taking him to jail, and he says, I know you. Where do I know you from? He said, I live right down the street from you. You know. So anyway, I told him what I just told you, and I said, how close am I to? I said, you guys know what happened, right? He said, you really know. He said, yeah, we knew. I said, how close am I to the truth? He said, you're pretty much dead on. You know, your version. So
wow.
This world is dark.
Oh yes.
Yes. It's darker than you could ever know. And all these people that have these theories that write these books, they don't even know how dark it is, man. You know, the shit that goes on in this world. It don't matter who's president of the United States. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, I know, and
they're just puppets.
And this is the most political you will ever get.
Yeah,
you don't talk politics, and
no,
I love that.
I
love that. There was an era.
I hate them all.
Yeah, right.
I don't hate. I didn't vote for this last election. And I'll tell you why. I have a famous line that I said to somebody. I said it's like being asked to vote for syphilis or herpes. Hillary being herpes,
right?
Because she don't ever go away.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, that's right. Let's talk about something funner. Fucking soap stars. So, how many soap stars did you date? Can you count them? Can you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big whore as you would think, but I dated my share. Yeah.
Were they all on like one show? Did you cross over to Days of Our Lives?
I did Young and Restless.
Okay,
that's my favorite show.
Yeah.
I did a few General Hospital, a couple General Hospitals. I did not Bold and Beautiful, the one Capital that was on. That was before Bold and Beautiful. I did Days.
Yeah! Days rules.
I'll tell you who I missed out on Days, boy. She's so fucking hot. Is Krista Allen.
Oh yeah, Hope.
Oh baby, yeah, that chick. I see her on Facebook. She's out of her fucking mind. You know, she's nuts.
Well, yeah,
but they're actresses, so
right, exactly.
They're all nuts, you know. But yeah, but I missed out on that one. Yeah. You know,
I fucking love it. I love it.
Well, like I say, you know, Babe Ruth didn't bat 400.
No, he did not. But he hit a lot of fucking home runs.
Oh man, I saw this documentary on Ted Williams the other night on Netflix. He batted 400 a couple of times. Man, he wasn't a big home run hitter like Babe was, but
right.
But the dude could hit the ball, boy.
Oh yeah, he was fucking great, man.
Yeah.
Billy, what else do you got to plug?
Oh, I should plug tomorrow, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I'm on the Oprah Network on a show called Home Made Simple with the host is Layla Ali, you know, the champ's daughter.
Yep.
And what they do is they give me a new kitchen, and me and my son Charlie are on there, and you see us with Layla Ali, and you see us helping them give me, you know, make my new kitchen. So I got a free kitchen, dude.
Fucking love it. Is this the same house that you talk about buying in the book after you got kicked out of your wife's house?
Yeah.
Oh wow, so you're still in that same place?
25 years.
Oh,
man.
Nice.
I don't like to move.
Yeah, it's
you know, when you got a big record collection like mine, man, the thought of moving my records is just too frightening. You know, I got 2 bedrooms full of old records.
It's fucking great, man. It's a lot of records. That's a lot of
records.
Of
records, man. I like one room is all 45s and my research books and my CDs, and then the other room is the LPs and video stuff. So Yeah, I still buy old records, but the trouble is that the things that I need now are so obscure.
Yep.
That it's just harder to find. So I don't get that Jones, man. It's like being an addict. There's a feeling when you get a record or you find a record and you say, "Oh man, it's coming in the mail. It's coming in the mail."
Yep.
Well, okay, it didn't come today. Maybe it'll come tomorrow. It's that like that. You get that feeling. You're like a junkie, but so you don't get to feed that Jones, man, when you don't have enough records that there's not enough out there on your list, your want list, as we call it.
I know, dude. It's the same thing with guitars too. It's like you have enough guitars. No, I don't. I don't have one of those. Right. I need another one of those. I need one of those.
Yeah, I know. Since the last time we were together, I got arthritis in my fingers and I can't play guitar anymore.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got this my left pinky and my right index, and yeah, so it's I can't play. My son plays, but
is he as good as you?
Oh shit, I ain't no good, man. I play like a songwriter, I'm a great rhythm guitar player. I'm not much of a soloist at all.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah,
me either.
But I got 2 Telecasters, one that Fender made for me. This is about 20 years ago. It was the 40th anniversary of the Strat, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they were hard up for celebrities because they called me. They called me up. They said we got CNN coming down to the factory to do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
And we need somebody to walk them through. We can't pay you, but we'll make you a guitar from Leo's old specs.
Wow.
We have all his old specs. So I said, "Can you make me a 52 Sunburst?" He said, "Yeah, we'll do that. It'd be just like an old one." So they made me one, and they said, "How about we put your name on the neck?" I said, "Oh, that's too corny. People will laugh at me. Like, look, I'm some dumb country singer, They said, "No, it'll be cool. We'll make it look good." So they did. So I got my name on it. It doesn't sound as good as my old souped-up Telly, which I still play. Well, I don't play it anymore. I got a Birdland, blonde Birdland. I got a L5 blonde. I got a Strat, a coral-colored Strat. I got a Martin Electric, single cutaway. I bought way back when.
Really? I didn't know they made electrics.
Yeah, they did too. They did do a double cutaway and a single cutaway. They're really rare, but they're not that, desirable.
Right.
But I still have that. In fact, I got a picture of a snapshot of me playing behind Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells in 1965 on stage playing that guitar.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I guess that's all I got.
I was going to go somewhere and I can't fucking remember. Damn it. How did I lose my... This is what happens when you're unscripted.
Yeah, that's right, man.
You're having conversation and all of a sudden you think about something and you forget.
You
that's
forget what it is.
I forget what it is.
The other guy comes up and says something and makes you forget what you were going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So we got the CD coming out on Friday. We got the TV show this weekend.
We're doing a release party, and it's also the 40th anniversary of the Beaters.
That's right.
April.
That's right.
And so we're celebrating that the same night at Vitello's,
which is sold out.
I believe it's sold out. But if sometimes people drop out, so give them a call. Maybe they'll put you on the waiting list.
Yep, and that's right here in Studio City, right?
Studio City on Tujunga.
If you're in Los Angeles area, you want to come down and see a great show, check that out. Billy Vera.
Check it out, see.
And people want to find you online?
BillyVera.com.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Billy, dude, thank you again for doing this again.
Oh, Izzy, thank you for having me, brother. You're a great interviewer.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot.
Well, I might get you some pussy,
Oh, that's always the hope. Let me hit my outro music here. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Vera. Hey-o, buy the new record. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back on Tuesday. Tuesday night with the Reverend Luke Carl from Hair Nation on Sirius XM live via the phone lines, calling in from Nashville. Monday will be another episode of, yes, the Izzy Presley Show. Just hear the ginger rage come out about news stories and topical banter. Hit up all the social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can also find the show page, which is Another Effin' Podcast. Like, subscribe, iTunes, Spreaker, the whole 9 yards. We'll see you next week. And don't forget, what I lack in talent, I do make up for in cock.